What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Ugly Pink podcast, where we talk marketing, branding, and real estate. My name is Brett Baker. I am the host, and today I have a good buddy of mine, Tristan. Tristan Ahmada, how are you today?
Good, man. Good.
Good.
Listen, I love the name, but
Yeah?
I think the tagline needs to be,
Oh,
but did you die?
but did you die? That's our tagline now.
It
All right.
is because
Uh, I,
you're challenging us to think
yeah,
differently on branding, and we
that's
may
true.
feel like, wait, am I going to do that? Or no, that's it's weird. So, but did you die?
Okay, you know what? Then, hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Ugly Pig podcast. But did you die?
I like that.
Is that how we're starting these
I
now?
like that, man. I like that.
Okay.
And thank you for bringing me on your first one.
I'm so grateful that you and I have chatted since, I mean, we've been chatting for a long time. I think you and I first virtually met at the start of COVID is when we really started. It was like way back, was it like 20, maybe it was 2019
You
that we
know,
really started
it
talking.
was right before COVID when we both started helping out at the time, Chime. Now
That's
they're
right.
right.
That's right. And
We
that was right after I had sold my real estate business, and I had basically signed a non-compete, and here I was, not really sure what I wanted to do or what I was capable of doing with helping real estate agents. And yeah, you and I started doing the weekly chimes together.
yeah.
Um, and that's how we got linked up. And then, it's funny is you and I actually didn't actually meet in person what until last summer when I was down in California buying the helicopter.
Dude, that was fun. But look, I'm a little scared of helicopters.
I know.
But after our conversation, believe it or not, I talked to my wife and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, that makes sense. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, right. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So thank you for the talk. Now I'm
Yeah.
a little bit more brave and I'll fly with you.
Okay. And it's fun now because so our friendship has evolved over the years, and now we're both at EXP together.
Yep.
And we're both out there trying to help other people, build their business, build their real estate business, which is it leads us into why I started this podcast.
Yeah.
Every day I see agents, I'm in the Lab Coat Agents group, and every day I see agents and they're talking about how they can differentiate themselves
Hmm.
um, from other agents in the marketplace. And so one of the ways that we've done that, and so we started our real estate business up here in Anchorage, Alaska in December. Myself, my wife, and one showing agent. We have a second showing agent being brought on right now. And numbers came out for January, and we were in the top 10 in the state after being in the business up here for about a month. And
December 2023.
yeah,
And
yeah, we
now
launched in December 2023.
got it.
And when the January 2024 numbers came out, our MLS launches them every month. And we were in the top 10 for January of 2024 for the first numbers that came out. So
What
2 months in the business.
what part of Alaska?
Anchorage, we serve Anchorage and the surrounding areas. We would love to go into the entire state because our MLS covers the entire state, but
Okay.
until I can get faster airplanes to get me around, I'm stuck with pretty much about 100 miles around Anchorage.
All right. So I have a thought and then I have a question for you.
Yeah, hit me.
The first thing I'm thinking of is branding because that's what
Yeah,
your whole podcast is about. And if you told me when you went to Alaska, you're like, hey, dude, we're moving and I'm
yeah,
going to start a whole team and we're
yeah.
going to blow it up here, right? By the way, I never doubted you. I was like, I can't wait to see it, right? I know other people doubted you. I know that.
Yes.
Um, but I wanted to see how you were doing it. So when I started seeing the pink cars and pink
Yeah.
helicopter with black,
Yep.
I thought it was amazing. I thought, number one, I thought it was beautiful,
Thank
right?
you.
And I thought it was brilliant. And I was like, dude, you had the guts to go all in, knowing that it may not work. Because look, you and I are similar, so I know in your head you're like, I'm going all in. What if it doesn't work? Oh, no way, no way. Don't worry about it. Let's just focus on, right? But I know every once in a while it's like the thought might have come through. And
Oh yeah.
here's my question.
Yeah.
How many people hated it, but it brought you
Oh
business?
man. You'd be shocked how many people so this is going to be so cliche what I'm okay. We all know that, T Swift has made, quite the presence lately in the news. But I love Taylor Swift because of haters gonna hate, hate, hate. And so one of the things that I've learned over the years, and so I had a really successful business before.
Yeah.
Um, and we did a lot of things with that, turned around and sold it. Didn't know if I was ever going to launch another real estate business.
Hmm.
Listening to people for 5 years basically tell me that, dude, the stuff you did then would never work again. Like it would never ever work again.
Yeah.
And me sitting back listening to this going, dude, I think you guys are wrong. You asked, were there times when before I launched this, when I said like I'm going all in, did I have doubts? Oh, you bet I had doubts, man. Like I looked at my wife at one point and was like, dude, we just bought a helicopter. We just bought like four different wrapped vehicles. I've dumped about I've dumped about $1 million into just branding.
Oh.
Like, what happens if this all fails?
Wait, I have a question. Pause.
Yeah.
How much does a helicopter cost?
About a half, about a
Oh,
half million.
okay, okay, cool. Just side note. I didn't know. That's all I was.
I love that this is the first episode. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, let's just talk about a $500,000 helicopter right
Well,
now. But
but you went all in.
you know what? And that's the thing. And I see people every day that don't. They hold back because they're afraid of what happens if I fail. And if you have the attitude of what happens if I fail, if you keep questioning yourself, and my wife was a prime example of because I had that same concern. And she goes, well, do your best at what you got. And if you do your best, you're not going to fail. And I couldn't believe that she kind of had that attitude right out
Mm.
of the gate. Um, but yeah, so things that I've learned over the years in business as a whole, and it's not just real estate businesses that I've grown and developed. I've done this in multiple industries. Um, People don't talk about boring businesses. That's the first thing. People will not talk about a boring
Mm.
business. If you want people to talk about you, don't be boring. So when we launched our business up here, the very, very first thing that we did was we went out and we started wrapping cars. And I'm actually going to share my screen because people are like, what are you talking about? You wrapped cars. So we went out and we wrapped our cars in ugly pink.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay. So hold on, Brett. So for those
yeah.
people joining us and listening in on audio, what Brett's showing us is two, it looks like SUVs, one of those a
Yep.
little smaller. And
Yep.
you've got the Baker team in white letters. Right underneath
Yeah.
it says boldly different. And then you've got the pink as well, and it says
Yeah.
B with a little house in the middle, which is your logo.
Yep.
And then underneath boldly different, it says www.boldlydifferent.com.
Boldlydifferent.com.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah. So the idea was, in my business, my everything that I've always wanted to do, I wanted to make it very, very obvious that we were different. And if you have a tagline, like we've trademarked our tagline, right? Boldly different. So we have that trademarked. And we did that because you do get copied frequently.
Oh, yeah.
But boldly different. You can't have a tagline like boldly different and not do something completely outside the box. You just
Yeah,
can't. You
that's
just
true.
can't. And so that was when people said, like, why did that was genius to choose fluorescent pink as your color.
I
In my
love it.
head, I kind of thought, I mean, it kind of worked out that way, but black and pink are actually my two favorite colors. And it just kind of worked out that way. Everybody's like, man, like
Yeah.
I've had people analyze, like I've literally heard people on another podcast analyze why I chose black and pink. And they actually broke down the individual hexadecimal code, EC018C, that we use for our pink. And they broke all this down. And my wife's listening to this and she looks at me and she goes, Do you want to call in and like tell them that was just your favorite color?
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. I'm assuming, are you talking about the radio show or no?
There was we after we yeah, it was a somebody's podcast. I don't remember what podcast got
Tell
brought up, but it was a real estate podcast.
tell me the story again on because you texted me
Yeah,
a clip. So here you go, everyone. Brett sends me a clip, an audio clip by text of a radio host or duo in
yeah,
Anchorage, Alaska. I think it's like one of the top shows out there, where
yeah,
they were concerned in a good way and laughing
yeah.
about his branding. Brett, take me through that. How did you discover that? What happened?
Yeah, so I we wrapped our cars. That was the first thing we did, and we wrapped the helicopter. That was the second thing we did. And it was really right as we had started launching. When you wrap a helicopter in black and fluorescent pink and then fly it around a city the size of like downtown Long Beach, California,
Yeah.
people notice. And so we've been driving around and flying around for a couple of weeks. And I get a text message in the morning from about 12 different of my friends.
Dude, I found it. Hold on.
Did you find it?
More money than sense. Have you seen there's a pink helicopter? I mean, it's like pink.
Dude, I've been seeing these black and pink cars all over town. And I was like, why would you ruin it with a pink wrap?
Oh, like they wrapped it with black and pink?
Yeah.
And I wonder, you think they're connected? There's someone infiltrated. Is T Swift coming? Is T Swift here?
Is that a sign from T Swift?
Wait, why am I acting all excited? Oh God, I hope. Sorry, forgot our audience.
Right,
I hope Taylor
right.
Swift isn't here.
Tone it down.
Dude,
Yeah, yeah, those guys. So I got that text from like 4 or 5 of my friends had sent me different versions of that. They did that entire morning show. It's the #1 morning show in Alaska. They had dedicated an entire morning show trying to figure out who I was and what I was doing. I can't I like and the irony in this is that I had no idea it was happening. So friends were reaching out to me like, "Hey, do you understand that you're on the radio right now? You don't like, do you have any idea what's going on?" And I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah. So it was, yeah,
your words. People don't talk about boring.
you nailed it. That's exactly it. And so every day in real estate, we see people doing the same thing over and over again. And especially as we move into this market that we're going into in 2024, where we're all vying for the same business, but the business is getting harder. How do you differentiate yourself? The whole idea behind us, me launching this podcast was to help give agents ideas of how to take themselves and make themselves more marketable. Now, does that mean you have to go out and buy a Robinson R44 and wrap it? No. Please, for the record, please don't. It does not make financial sense to do that. Do you have to go out and buy cars and wrap those? No. Do you have to go out and use fluorescent pink to do this? No. I could have done the same thing I've done with blue or with orange or with any other color. What I did was I built a brand that connected with me and connected with my personality, and I ran with that. And what I encourage agents to do is find a way, and this is things we're going to be talking about on these episodes, find ways to connect with your target demographic, and find ways to, within that demographic, get them to talk about you. So I knew my target demographic up here. Now, my target demographic is a little different. Everybody says, well, I just want buyers and sellers. That's my target demographic, is anybody thinking about buying or selling a house. It is very, very difficult and very, very expensive to target that demographic. It is very, very expensive to do so. So I tell people niche it down. And these are things we're going to talk about on future episodes, how to niche down into your niche, what works really well for you. Maybe you're just like the diehard dog lover. I'm a dog lover, but I mean, there are people that are way more so than I am. Maybe that's your niche. People that love dogs or own dogs. Maybe your niche is boating. My buddy Nick out in Michigan, he has one of those go fast boats.
Mhm.
And that is a perfect niche for him because he's in the community every single day. I'm like, wrap your boat. He's like, that's actually a good idea. Like, there you go.
I have
Um,
a question,
yeah,
and I'm gonna think of my answer, but I want you to go first because
sure.
I haven't thought of the answer. Wh- What would be? Yeah, I'm cheating here. What would be the? So if you get it wrong, I'll look good. What would be the number one step in going and embracing your brand deeper? Because that is what I
Yeah,
see. You mentioned it. Where
yeah,
real estate agents copy others, and they're like they kind of half-ass the brand. What
yeah.
would be that first step to actually go in and embrace your brand? What does that look like?
Right. What gets you excited every day? Like when you wake up in the morning, what gets you excited? For me, um, the prospect of the reason I love my brand, and it's funny because Tristan, when I relaunched this brand up here, I wasn't going to use the same brand that I used before with my previous business. I was going to do something totally different. Um,
Oh,
and really, I had gone through the motions to actually get. I think I sent you some of the other logos in the other directions I was
you
going to
did.
go.
I remember that.
Remember that? Yeah. So the reason, I think a lot of people said, well, Brett, why the hell did you default back to what you did before? Like, isn't that kind of just like just a copy of what you've done before? And the truth was one night, I was sitting there kind of hemming and hawing over what direction I wanted to go. And Aurora, my wife, she kind of looks at me and she goes, what did you like about your previous brand? And I was like, well, I mean, I loved everything about the previous brand. And she goes, well, why don't you just run with that? Because you still love it. And she was right. I mean, at the end of the day, she was right. Every day when I wake up and I see my ugly pink car, sitting in the garage, it makes me smile because, because of this
Mm.
business before, I mean, I ended up meeting my wife because of this business. That brand has done so much for me personally. And so every day I get a little smile when I walk into my garage and I get into my ugly pink car and I drive off. So use a build your brand in a way that makes you excited. If you're building somebody else's business, you're never going to get as excited as if you're building your own. And so,
And that's why ripping off and duplicating does.
yeah. Right. Well, I look at your brand, right? I love your brand. And
Yeah.
not just your real estate brand, but like a brilliant tribe. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that you do, I can tell how passionate you are about your brands because of everything you build around your brand. And you're actually the reason, other than the fact that you're a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. Uh, I wanted you on this podcast because being very honest with you, you're one of the few people I feel that gets it. One of the other people I feel that gets it, and I want to hear your answer to this, by the way.
Okay, so now that you
So,
gave away
yeah,
the best answer, I'm
right.
second best answer. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That was a good one, by the way. I agree with you. I wrote down some notes. I put what's exciting to you, and that's where you should.
yeah,
All right. And then you'll attract what's exciting to others because they already love what they're watching. Right.
right,
So I
right.
love that. Here's what I think. I think we don't go deep enough when it comes to the branding that we finally decide on,
Correct.
meaning we don't live and breathe it in the things that we do enough.
Right.
We stop with like, hey, you know what? This is an amazing logo, and I'll send it out on my newsletter, or I'll put it
Yep.
on my postcard, but it doesn't become you, right?
Right.
And I think that's where the differentiating factor um, is for those that really go all in. Because when I think of Apple, I
Yeah.
actually I actually think of Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
When I think of Tesla, I think of Elon, crazy or not, right? When I think of Amazon, I think of Bezos, right?
Yeah.
When you
Uh,
think of these companies, you think of the people that went all in on them. And I think that's
mhm.
what's missing with a lot of agents. Dude, when I
I
see
agree.
yours, literally black and pink, because we're friends, but
Yeah.
it's in my fucking face. And I'm like, Brett, pink and black is Brett now, which
Yeah,
is crazy.
exactly. I mean, people see me in Costco, they'll see me in Costco and they're like, hey, you're that pink and black guy. And it's like, yeah.
It. That's
So
it.
the other agent that I see that gets it, and you actually know him, he's south of you. Kyle Whistle with
Oh
Whistle
yeah.
Realty.
I love Kyle,
That
man.
Yeah, that dude gets it. He gets it. Like if you see the Whistle logo, like you can start. I don't know if you noticed. Have you followed him on? Do you follow him on Instagram? He just wrapped a Cybertruck
That's
in
smart.
the. Yeah, well, and as soon as I saw him take delivery of it, he posted something on Instagram and he's taking delivery of a Cybertruck. And in my head, I'm like, that is the smartest effing thing that he could do right now. I hope he freaking wraps it because
Wrap.
everybody is staring at those trucks right now. Everybody is.
uh, Very
So,
smart. So when are you getting a Cybertruck?
it's funny that you say that. They don't do well here. If they did better in
Oh,
Alaska, I would do it.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
they do not do well. I mean, I've got
Is
a
it the
couple of friends
battery?
with Teslas. Battery life is okay. It's our snow depth and our weather up here that really, I mean, even my little Mercedes wagon there doesn't do very well up here.
Mm.
And you have to understand my geographic area to really understand. My cars that I run up here, they do a great job in Anchorage specific, but we're
Oh,
not really connected to the road system very well up here. So, for example, if I want to get to the northernmost section of my service area, for you, it would be like going up to like Santa Barbara. Okay,
hmm.
from Malibu to Santa Barbara. That's like my section there. That it takes forever to get there. I can literally hop in the helicopter and be there in 20 minutes. Or for you, if you were to go down, let's say you left Malibu and you were to go down and service like Santa Monica, how long would that take you by car?
Uh, no traffic?
Yeah,
No, dude, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
yeah. So that would be like my southern border, for example. And for me to get to like Kenai or Soldotna from where I am right now, if I were to drive that, it would be 2.5 hours. That's
Oh,
no traffic
wow.
because we have to go around a giant inlet to
Oh,
get
yeah,
there.
you don't cross through the hill.
Right. So I can literally hop in an airplane or a helicopter and I can
Mm,
be there in
mm.
10 minutes.
Okay.
So up here for us, aircraft actually work better than a Cybertruck, which is why we wrapped a helicopter. Of course, now we can use a helicopter for anything. But it's Whistle gets it. He embraced his brand. And where I see people fail constantly is that nothing is congruent. They'll go make a beautiful logo and they'll choose beautiful colors, and then that's not reflected when a user clicks on their website. And that's not reflected in their newsletter that goes out. And that's not reflected in the brand that they wear every day. I don't have it on right now. I'm not wearing it because I'm sitting here doing a podcast with you. But usually I have a Baker Team jacket that I wear, black and pink jacket.
Think about.
Yep. I've got the same thing with like I branded my polo shirts too.
Do you think about what people feel when they see your brand? Do you think about that or no?
I do. And so I keep the boldly different tagline in
Uh-huh.
literally everything that I do. Every bit of advertising that I run.
Mm-hmm.
If you go onto my website, bolddydifferent.com right now, it's going to show you, not tell you. I don't have to tell you I'm different. You can go onto my website right now and you're going to see from the get-go that everything we do is completely different.
Yeah.
Um, but we embrace that, right? Because that you can't have a tagline like boldly different and do something that everybody else does. So that obviously is, I think people get pretty overwhelmed when they start going, well, I mean, how am I going to embrace this brand? Start small.
Okay. Do
The
you think?
easiest thing you can do,
Hmm.
this is gonna be crazy,
Mhm.
and you're gonna laugh. Make sure that your email address and your domain name match. What drives me nuts is someone has a domain name like we'll use bolddydifferent.com. Okay, we'll
Mhm.
use that. And so, instead of having, I don't know, Tristan at boldlydifferent.com, it's, really great Alaska Realtor at gmail.com. And you're like, dude, you didn't spend the $6 a month on your email address?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Sure, it matches all across.
Keep
Interesting.
everything matching. You don't have to go crazy with it. But if you have a website like, isellsocalhomes.com, it should be Tristan at isellsocalhomes.com or some iteration of that. That's where I see a lot of people. Who else does a really good job?
Who?
James Patton.
Oh,
James,
with the
the
beard.
bearded agent. Yeah. So here's a really, really great example of this. So James Patton, if you look up, I think his website is thebeardedagent.com. James is one of those people that he found something that is very obvious. James has probably, like, I have beard envy of James, because you're seeing about what I can grow. And for those of you that are listening to this, I've got stubble, and that's about all I can grow. Tristan right now I'm envious of what you've got going on right now,
Dude.
because you can rock that. I couldn't grow what you've got right now in, like, if I didn't shave for like 6 months.
You were like,
So,
oh, it's still. I'm like, what?
right.
So
But James has a beard, and it is, man, it's a beard.
he's done a
So
very
he
good
he
job.
what he ran with that, right? His logo has his beard in it. He has a really beautiful, and I don't have his website up right now. I'm doing this off memory. This is how
Dude,
much it stands out in my brain.
so he's embraced it, but I
Yeah,
think with someone like James, so if you're listening in and you're like, James has got a beard, right? We all have something.
yeah,
I think it would be smart for people that finally figure out what the branding is to now decide and saying, well, what are my next steps to this? Let's outline them. Because dude,
right.
I would watch, I don't have a beard like
Hmm.
like James, but I'd watch his videos if he said, hey, this is how I take care of it. These are the problems
Yeah,
I have. I'm like, oh, I every once in a while watch that. And the people that have a beard
yeah,
would definitely watch that. So,
absolutely.
oh, interesting.
Absolutely. Let's say you're a surfer. Sorry, I grew up in SoCal. In fact, I mean, I grew up right down the street from you.
Yep.
And so I grew up in SoCal. And so, one of the things that I always thought that someone should capitalize on is, I mean, especially if you're a Huntington Beach agent, like, if you're a surfer, why are you
Mhm.
not capitalizing on that in some way,
Exactly.
shape, or form? You
Yeah.
know?
You attract
Um,
people who live there.
exactly. Someone in Aliso Viejo, for example, why are you not talking about mountain biking? Why are you not the because people move to Aliso Viejo to be able to mountain bike. I almost did, because the mountain biking there is phenomenal. So think of the things that are surrounding you and the things that you're passionate about. If you live in Park City, Utah, and you're a skier, do something with that. These are then you can start focusing on, these are the best, ski in, ski out condos in Park City, Utah.
Yeah.
So you can really embrace your brand and become the talk of the town based off of that. You don't have to wrap stuff in, hot pink to be the talk of the town. You don't have to do stuff like that. Just people will talk about you if you create the brand
But
that
why
people are willing to.
why don't we create the brand? What are we scared of?
I think people are afraid of the big one I hear is, well, I don't want to lose audience because of my
Oh,
brand,
yeah, interesting.
right? And that's something I hear constantly. I don't want to lose audience because of my brand. And the truth is, then you hear people talk about working with clients that they really don't enjoy working with. Had they just niched down and used their brand to attract the kind of clients that they want to work with, they would have had a much easier time working with that client.
So
The other one I hear is, I'll want to work as luxury.
Mhm.
And they're trying to break into the luxury space. And the agents that do an exceptional job with luxury, they're
Mhm.
the ones living the luxury. I mean, they're living that lifestyle constantly. They're the
Yeah,
ones at the country clubs constantly.
they make me
They
feel
have
luxurious when I'm around.
that.
It's like, yeah, you're so right, dude. You know,
Exactly.
I had
And
forgotten about
that's
this.
the brand.
That's so smart, man. I was thinking, by the way, I didn't think of when I asked you why people don't do this, I didn't think of the answer being they're scared of losing something, right?
Yeah.
That is a really smart answer. I was thinking along the lines of they're scared of the commitment it takes to take this all the way. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, do I really want to take that on? Let me think a little bit further. It's like, oh, damn, that's a lot involved in this, right?
Right.
That, and then failing, and then losing
Right.
face or people talking shit about you, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that last one,
Well, I
that's
mean,
actually the big one.
people talk shit about me
Yes,
constantly.
yes, they do.
Like you,
I
dude,
just,
do you know
I
how many
just don't like
times
it.
do you have any idea how much shit people talk about my brand? And
Oh,
do you know
it's
what the
funny.
best part is? The more shit they talk, the more people get attracted to my brand.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean that.
I see that. You're
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, baby.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's
But
so
no,
good.
that's the truth is though, you know, what is the and since I mean this is the first episode of this podcast and we're already diving in pretty deep on this. But I do think it is something that as we move into this new market that we're moving into, you know, let's back up. Before I got on this podcast this morning, I was browsing through Lab Coat, and what are we seeing so many people posting about right now? Well, how do I get more leads? You know, how do I convert better? How do I, you know, people are starting to realize that the last 5 years in this industry, actually the last 10 years have actually been easier than they've been before. And now we're starting to get into this market where it's not as easy as it was. And
Yeah.
now is the time more than ever to start niching down and really honing in a core audience. This is the time to do it. If you're going to do it, this is the time to do it.
It's about to
Um,
get harder too, man. If you
it is.
don't niche in, it's going to be harder to connect with those buyers looking
Yep.
to be represented
Yeah,
with all of the commission situations.
I know. This is how you're going to start showing your value. So the way that I'm showing my value, I mean, when our tagline is what does it, right? Boldly different. Um, we're coming up with very bold strategies to
Yeah.
be able to show our value to our clients. This is the time where, you know, if you're James Patton right now with the bearded agent, now is the time to be connecting with your bearded friends, and really niche in on that.
Yeah.
If you're a diehard skier or snowboarder in Park City, Utah, that's your audience. Start diving in on that. Really start niching in on that and show your value of why you're the person they should be using when they're buying a vacation house in Park City, Utah.
That's so true.
This is the time to niche down. And I think now more than ever, if you're afraid of failing on a brand, I would be more afraid of failing if you don't brand because you're going to get lost in the woodwork. You just are.
And then you answered the question, why branding? I like
Yeah.
the whole loop,
So,
Brent.
you know, I think things through. So sometimes I think things through.
That's so
You
good.
know, when I first launched with Ugly Pink, I'm going to be really honest with you. And the funny part about this, the whole Ugly Pink thing, do you know that actually got brought up by a different DJ in a different market?
No way.
She started making fun of me, and then I ended up on the air with her, quite a bit. We were on the air,
Oh,
I want to say like 3 to 4 times a week.
what?
Yeah, that was a whole man. The Ugly Pink has brought me into. I've gotten news interviews, because you know people want to listen to a guy who's sticking his neck out a little bit. But yeah, I got brought in, and I got brought in by this DJ who she wanted to know more about the real estate market, and she called me one day. This is back in Eastern Washington. She calls me one day, and she wanted to talk about real estate. And she was like, "Aren't you the guy driving around in those ugly pink cars?" And I kind of got offended initially. And and she goes, "Well, I want to bring you on the radio and talk." And I was like, "Okay." So I like came into the studio, and she kept calling them ugly pink cars. And
Ooh.
and at first, I mean, I can't stress, dude, I was really offended because at the time I was like, "Dude, come on. I'm
Oh.
here helping you out. Like, why the hell are you calling my cars fucking ugly pink? Like, this is bullshit." Um, and then the more I thought about it, I went, you know what? Instead of being offended by this, screw it. So on the back of my cars, I went and I did the hashtag ugly pink cars and I sent her the screenshot. And she was like, did you just like take the ugly pink car thing and roll with it? I'm like, hell yeah, I did. But if you're going to make fun of me, I'm going to turn this into something else.
Dude,
And
you
it
know,
ran from there. And so now we have an ugly pink podcast.
so you've got the hex code, and now
Yeah,
you've got the name for your specific pink. You know, Tiffany blue, you've got
yeah,
ugly pink for you.
yeah.
I love that.
So we've got ugly pink cars, ugly pink choppers. We call it the bold copter now. And I'll find a picture. Those
Dude,
of you
hold
listening,
on,
you'll
hold on. It's ugly pink and
yeah,
bold black. Okay,
yep.
those
I
are
like
it.
it.
So your
Yeah.
colors.
I think I'm just gonna bring you on now as like a marketing consultant. Um,
That's so funny.
for those of you listening in, you're not gonna be able to see what I'm about to share. But for those of you that are watching this, you're gonna be able to see it. I'm gonna be sharing a picture of the helicopter, and this is actually out in Alaska. And so this is out in front of the Knik Glacier. And so black helicopter, it's got the same double B logo in the back. And actually you can't see it, but underneath the tail boom, I have our website, boldlydifferent.com. So as we fly over the top of you, you see our website.
That's
And so
amazing.
we tried to keep it a little subtle, but
Just a little bit. Is
from
that
the
where
front you can't tell.
is that where you're going to take me when we fly out?
That is that. If you want to go there, I'd be happy to take you there. I have a few spots that I
Listen,
want to show you.
I really love the cave you sent me a picture of.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
I'll take you there, and then the other one I'm going to take you to. There's one call. We're going to see how you do as we fly around. I want to see your comfort level.
Want to see
Um,
want to see me pee in your copter?
I prefer, no one has ever thrown up in any aircraft I've ever flown, and I've got, I mean, 15,000 plus hours of flight time at this point. But I'll tell you this much: if you're comfortable and you're doing okay, I'm gonna take you into a place we call the waterfall, and
Ooh.
I might have you close your eyes as we set down because I end up about 3 feet of clearance on my blades as I set down.
Holy crap.
But it is the tail hangs over basically a waterfall, and it's a nice place to have a snack.
All right, buddy. That's a wrap. I love this.
This is yeah. I think we're gonna try to do these twice a month. I think is the goal. I'm gonna try to get on some good guests like yourself that really understand branding and marketing. Our goal here is to be able to get agents doing more with niching down and doing more with their brand. Let's see if we can get more people doing more business in 2024 and try to make this transition to market a little easier.
Dude,
That's the goal here.
let's get Kyle on the next one.
I would love to. I'm going to reach out to him at some point and see if we can get him onto this. And if you know of anybody that is that's doing a great job with marketing, I might try to get James on here and listen to his mindset behind the bearded agent.
You know who's good? Jeff Fitzer.
Yeah.
He's been doing such a great job growing his brand.
Was he drunk on social guy?
Drunk on Social,
Yeah.
Fitzer Media. He's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
doing
yeah.
a good job. I've watched him grow. Dude, I love that. Thanks for having me
Yeah.
on.
Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate you.